Welcome to the Hidden Heroes Talk Show. My name is Ariel, and this is Erin. Today's guest speaker is Laura Powers, calling in from LA. You're right here with us. Thank you, Laura, for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, Laura, you are a ghost whisperer, an energy healer, a medium, angel communicator, all of the above.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk to you about this. Will you just kind of let us get to know you? Where are you from? What are your hobbies? What do you do?
Sure. Yeah. So I just moved recently from LA, but before that, I was from Colorado, from like the Boulder, Denver area. I was actually born in France and moved to the States when I was a girl. So even though I'm definitely American, I have some international feeling, and I really can relate to being like new and kind of an outsider, an immigrant. And I'm interested in a lot of stuff. I do a lot of retro-oriented things. I do pinup modeling. I'm a burlesque performer. I like to do cabaret singing. And then I have a lot of other interests. I'm a writer. I'm an actress as well. And got into this work just because of, my gifts and the things I saw and sensed as a girl.
So when did you realize that this was a gift? When did you start going?
To be honest,
about?
It was a really long journey because since I was little, saw and sensed like ghosts, demons. I don't know if any of you have seen Constantine, but it's kind of like that. Like I see a lot of stuff that other people don't see, but I looked around and pretty clearly saw that other people weren't seeing and sensing what I was, and because they weren't reacting to it. And so for a long time, I thought I was crazy. So I had a really long journey of just not, talking about it, holding everything in. I remember asking my mom when I was little if she saw and sensed stuff, and I knew she didn't know what I was talking about based on her answer. So it wasn't until actually I was an adult in college and a family friend described a ghost that I had seen but not told anybody about that I realized, okay, I'm not crazy, because he couldn't see my hallucination. So it's not until I was an adult that I really understood what it was that I was seeing, and that it wasn't just like in my head.
Wait, please tell me. You gotta tell me a little,
right?
Not even just advice, but how did you personally, I need to know how you got past this point of thinking you were crazy, and then like how other people can begin to see that they're not crazy either. Really have people who can see ghosts.
Okay, so sure. So for me, it was really about this other person confirming something that I saw, but that most people don't see. So not everybody does see ghosts. And so when someone else saw this ghost that I had seen but never told him or anyone else about, that confirmed, okay, you can't see what is in my head, like this is actually real. But I was still really scared. And so I shut down, and it wasn't until many years later that I actually went to a psychic myself, because I was in a really bad place in my life. And she said to me, like, look, when you shut everything out, and of course I hadn't told her, she said, you shut out the stuff you needed to know, which made sense. And so then I started taking the process of taking classes and opening back up. So I would say to people out there, if you're really sensitive, you may not be clairvoyant. Like I see, some people are empaths, they feel, and that's really confusing. They might feel stuff around them, but have no other like indicator that it's there. That there are classes you can take. I teach, there's classes everywhere. And the first thing is just to start learning about angels, start learning about ghosts, how they operate, read, watch videos, take classes. And a lot of people have psychic gifts but don't know. Like my mom is super psychic, but it wasn't until I started taking classes that she kind of put 2 and 2 together about some of the stuff she experienced as well.
Okay, now you're saying that this is a gift, and you're saying that ever since you were younger, you knew that you saw or heard ghosts.
Yeah.
Now, do you think other people, they're just born with this gift, or do you think it's an acquired skill as well? Like, could me and Ariel learn how to see it, or how does that work?
Yeah. Well, I think it's like many things. There's like a range of natural ability, right? Like, there's almost anyone can make a painting, but then not everyone's going to be Picasso. And then some people can make like a stick figure, So there is like natural abilities that we have. But of course, once we take classes, we can refine and hone and understand what we have. So the psychic abilities are just like anything else via, athletics or art or whatever. But there are some people like me, like I just couldn't ignore it. It was so strong. However, there are a lot of people who have gifts and abilities who just don't know how to tap into it. They don't recognize it when it comes up. So especially if you're empathic, which means you feel psychically, you just tend to assume whatever you feel is yours. And and then all of a sudden it's like this light bulb moment that you could be feeling something from other people. Some of the people that are empaths need training to understand how that works.
I have so much questions. I don't even know how to start. Let's talk about your talk show. You have a podcast.
Yeah.
You use that to connect with people and talk about, I mean, I was looking at it, it's anywhere from angels to, I think you're talking about crystals, a wide variety there.
Yeah. Yeah. I started my podcast actually with a desire to help people heal and, you know, receive information and learn. So in my journey, I shut down. I was in a really bad place in my life. I was like physically sick, in a bad marriage, unemployed, like I was on sleeping pills, 40 pounds overweight, you know, just like really bad. And then I went through this process of opening back up and taking classes, learning about like alternative forms of healing, and like my life totally transformed. So I started this podcast to basically just help people learn information. So yeah, we talk about like physical health, we talk about energy, we talk about spirituality. So I just basically interview a lot of different guest experts on all these different topics that are topics that I think are helpful for people to know about.
And where's your podcast? Where is it aired? Where's your show aired?
So mine is primarily on iTunes is where most of my audience is. And then also it's linked on my website. I get about 500,000 downloads a year right now. So it's been a growing audience, and it's really fun. And I love it because it's a great, like I learn too, like I'm interviewing all these experts, and then it's like, wow, some of these experts, like they charge thousands of dollars an hour, and then here they are, and I get to, you know, have that time with them. It's really amazing.
That's really cool. And Laura, where can people go to find out about your classes or training?
Sure. So my website is www.healingpowers.net. And on there, I have a podcast page. The events page lists my classes. I have 2 books out, and I'm about to release my 3rd. So information on that is also out there. And then also if you want to do one-on-one sessions with me. So I do, you know, readings where I can check in on anything anyone wants to look at. And then I also do house and space clearings for places that are having unwanted spiritual activity.
Gotcha. So Erin and I run a suicide support group. I don't know if you saw any of that for suicide and depression.
I heard that, yeah.
It's here in LA. We would love to have you come through one night.
I would love that.
You should. It's Tuesdays at 8. I personally, I don't see ghosts. I don't have that. But I'm huge on feeling, and I do feel like I see energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something we've talked about before, but I have a thing with my eyes. If I'm in my support group and there's someone who has intense negative energy, you can feel their pain, you can see it. I can't see. I literally start to blink like 500 times, and I start having this huge issue with my eyes. And I've kind of, especially if they're sitting across the room from me and directed, I kind of have to shift myself and dodge it. Like I can't handle the energy here. Many people will have an issue where they cough. They have to like clear their throat and
Sure.
And do these things. What are some tools that people can use as far as we can't get rid of negative people? They're all around us. But there's no reason that you have to take on someone else's negativity. So what are some tools for coping or dealing with or not letting other people's negative energy affect you?
Sure, definitely have some ideas for that. First of all, I think what's going on is when people are in a bad space, a lot of times they literally have what I call dark entity attachments, which means, you know, there's the light forces and the dark forces, and they're always impacting us. And dark beings, dark entities have negative energy, and they're also going to try to block somebody who can help the person they're attached to. So that's my sense of they're actually trying to interfere with you connecting with that person because they understand that you can help them. So that's maybe just a little bit to explain like why that's happening in terms of your vision. In terms of tools, what I explain to people is that our minds, our lives, and our energy fields are very much like a garden. If you don't put flowers, what automatically shows up are the weeds, right? So in life, most of us are working through life and we have like a really weedy garden. Or there's people around us that have a lot of weeds. And so what we need to do is we need to plant the flowers or the vegetables. We need to like invite that positive energy into our life. So I really encourage people to work with angels because they are loving beings of light, and they can act as our spiritual bouncers, protectors, and helpers. And all we need to do is just mentally or out loud, if you're in a place where you can do that, is just invite them in. Archangel Michael is a wonderful angel to ask for protection. So yeah, if you're ever feeling like that, like you feel overwhelmed or you're getting that visual thing that you're talking about, ask Archangel Michael to protect you and clear any beings from you that are not of the light and take them permanently away. And the word permanent is important because otherwise they'll be allowed to come back into your energy field again.
Okay, I have a huge question. Because this happened to a friend that I'm close to. And I have to know, when you open a door, I feel like even when you say, you know, good energy come to me, good things that's serving me come to me, I feel like when you open that door too wide, some bad things can come back through. Is that true?
Well, you have to be careful what door you're opening. Like, for example, I don't recommend using Ouija boards because that, generally speaking, is not a protected channel. You know, those who created the Ouija board were not like, hey, let's connect with angels. It wasn't set for like light intentions. And on top of that, you have to specify what you want in. So that's why I'm saying invite the angels in. Like, if you invite the angels in, that they are beings of light, they will help you and love you and support you. If you just like start talking with whatever's there, who knows what's going to come through. It's very important that you specify who you're trying to communicate with.
What about like just burning sage and hoping, you know, saying I invite in positive things, I invite the angels, I invite my protectors over me. Do you feel that that's a door?
I wouldn't say it's a door. I mean, certainly inviting, in a way it is with the angels, but burning sage specifically is not a door. Here's what I'll say about sage. Sage can be a very powerful tool. It helps clear dark and negative energy. So I do generally recommend it. However, let's say you have a really high level of demon attached or around in your space. They're really strong, you know, and so if you burn a little sage and it's not enough to clear them energetically, like they're stronger than the sage, basically, all it's going to do is irritate them.
Wow.
And there are people that I've known that are like, I tried to burn sage and it just got worse. I'm like, well, that's because it's like you agitated the strong stuff that was in your space and just made it angry. So, you know, for a certain level, sage can be helpful. But if you're dealing with like possession or a like strong level attachment situation, then it's not necessarily recommended until you can get someone to help you really clear whatever it is that's causing the stuff. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does.
Okay.
One thing, we do a guided meditation every evening after. That's how we wrap up our support group. And one we do very often is Archangel. We do Gabriel and Michael, but clearing in blue energy, inviting in.
Great.
Clearing, like we gather up everything and put it in a dark cloud and blow it away, and then bring in that white and protecting. My question is, I completely just had a brain fart. Lost my train of thought.
All right, asking the angels to help.
What are some, right? What are some, far as I firmly believe our angels are there.
Yeah.
I believe I have seen my angel at least once, at least one angel around me, physically seen it. I have not told you this story, but I saw my angel. But what are some tools you can use as far as connecting? People, like, we're talking about ground zero. This is a new world. I just started. Say that again?
Just like basic stuff.
Yeah, so like I've been meditating now for a year. Rewind here. So last year 2 years ago, I was extremely depressed. And so what got me through that depression actually was an energy healer. I started doing the Archangel Michael and Gabriel guided meditations multiple times, and I was carrying around different crystals, different gems, and that really helped me get through this time period and make that adjustment from depression and suicide to where I'm at now. And now, so I've been meditating for a year, and I absolutely swear by meditations. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I want to take it to the next level, and I want to connect. We have our guides, we have our angels that are constantly with us. How do I connect there? And so for me, I'm always going into a meditative state, and I'm like, here I am, talk to me. What you got for me? And I also know about lucid dreaming. And so I'll usually say, okay, I know I'm not, like, my ego's in the way, and I'm trying to listen to you because I know you're there talking to me. So maybe we can talk in my sleep. Maybe we can talk while I dream.
Sure.
And then I'll wake up and go there. So what are some tools as far as trying to connect or make that step or level to talking with your guides or angels?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say you're obviously very well connected with Angel. Did you know that you have an angel name?
No.
Ariel is an archangel. Ariel, I'll just tell you a little bit about this angel since it's your name. And if we have an angel name, that means we have a connection with that angel. So there's a lot of Michaels out there. That means you have some kind of connection. My middle name is Michelle, which is the female version of Michael. So you're Ariel. Your name is Ariel. And Ariel name means lion or lioness of God. And Ariel is like a protector. Ariel is also very connected with the natural realm, with the air and the water and the animals and the earth. So people that have the name Ariel are often very sensitive to the earth and energy. But to answer your question, One thing I always recommend is just start reaching out to their angels, inviting them into your life one way or the other, and then start paying attention to signs, because our angels and spirit guides are always communicating with us, but we don't often know how that works. Like, we don't know how they talk. So they talk through the natural world, through other people, through signs, symbols, and messages. They communicate through numbers, through songs, through things we, billboards or license plates we see. So one thing you can start to do is ask your angels for a sign, and then pay attention. You can also ask specific questions. So they show up with, like, I know it sounds funny and cheesy, but rainbows and feathers are two signs that they will often give us. And those could be literally those things, or even just like a picture of it. You could see a picture of a rainbow or a painting of a feather or something. And just ask questions. So I've been doing this for a long time. And even though I give readings and I can channel, it's very helpful to just kind of day through day. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm like in a meditative state, like just all the time, right? So when I'm in my regular life and I have a question, I'll just put it out there and just ask for a sign, and it can come through in amazing ways. Like, once I felt like I was getting the guidance to take a trip, and I asked the angels for a very clear sign that this was aligned for me, and I literally walked out of my appointment, and there was a travel agent called Travel Laura. So it was like really clear. It's like, yes, please travel, So we all can do those things, and then we just start paying attention to the universe around us and any messages that we might be receiving through it.
I love it. No, I agree.
One more question with that. So do you ever find when you ask for a sign that from an angel, from your protector and who you trust, your guide, that sometimes a demon will sneak in and give you the wrong sign?
Okay, well, I've not in the way that I'm describing. I've never had that happen. Sometimes we get a sign we might not want to hear, so there's that potential. One way is that our angels and spirit guides do communicate with us is through our thoughts and feelings, and this can get people that are very psychic and sensitive in a lot of trouble. A lot of people that do these like murderous rampages are being given information by demons. And you'll hear some of them talk about, like, the voice they heard in their head or whatever. So something to keep in mind is just because you have an idea or a thought that's reoccurring, that doesn't mean it's of the light. Angels can communicate that way too. This idea of an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other is really quite true. So it's important to clarify who it is you want to talk with and ask the angels to clear that out. So in terms of like the universe, I've never had a bad sign. However, sometimes the dark stuff will interfere in a way that we might interpret it as a sign. So that can get tricky. So one of the ways they'll interfere is through electronics. I know we have some problems communicating today and getting set up, through technological breakdowns, car accidents. So people that have a lot of chaos and have a lot of problems around them, literally just, having trouble gaining traction. Sometimes it's because these dark beings, and then they might misinterpret that as a sign, like, oh, I should give up, this isn't my path. So it's important to try to figure out, where is this communication or activity coming from?
I love it. One thing I always say is love and light only. So
yes,
if
exactly.
I'm opening up this space to love and light only. I'm asking this question, and I'm asking that the answer be based love and light, like just kind of channeling. Like I only want to see and hear, because like I said, I am very extremely sensitive to energy, and I'll walk into a room and I just literally like to sit there and I feel. I don't really see. So, but I'm always saying, okay, I'm asking this question now. However, not asking everybody, just love and light. If it's related to love and light only, that's all I'm interested in knowing.
Yes, I think that's a really great prayer. And just a note about being empathic or psychic feeling, clairsentience is another way to say that, is it is actually a very powerful gift. Unfortunately, most people that have it don't know how to use it, so they're just kind of overwhelmed all the time. Also, people who are very psychic and sensitive are more likely to struggle with depression, suicide, drug addiction, etc., because they are overwhelmed by darkness. And, if you have a light soul, meaning you're here to do good things, the dark is attracted to the light. What needs the light more than the darkness? So the darkness comes in, and if you don't know how to shield yourself, sometimes people have coping mechanisms. They go to drugs and alcohol as a way to kind of drown that out, rather than try to clear it out of their life, because they just don't know how. So if you are empathic or clairsentient, you are automatically going to be even more of a magnet for these beings, because you're easy to impact, right? If you're not sensitive, you don't feel strongly, it's going to be less likely that they're going to impact you. So they're smart. they go to where they can easily impact. So if you're empathic, the benefit is you can't be fooled, you know, right? A demon can make themselves look like a beautiful angel. They can look beautiful, but they will always feel terrible. So it's important to honor, if you have that gift, to honor how something feels. And if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel right, to trust that, even if physical appearances don't show otherwise.
I love it. One more question. I am huge. We talk about this all the time. Garbage in, garbage out. Same thing goes for positivity in, positivity out. Or we have to wash our hands every day. You still have to wash your mind. Like, it doesn't just last.
Totally.
This is something you brought up at the very beginning. What are some things that you do every single day that encourage, that bring in that positivity? For me, I'm huge on podcasts. I listen to one every single morning. And by the way, you're on my channel now.
Oh, yay.
My day, every single morning, it's at least 15, 20 minutes while I'm getting ready. And that's my go-to. Usually while I'm driving or throughout the day as well. But what are some of your go-tos for increasing positivity or happiness in your life on a regular basis?
So first thing is, it's important to invite angels and beings of light, your guides, in all the time, because angels, they honor our free will. So just because we like asked for something yesterday doesn't mean we want the same thing again today, which is beautiful. We can change our minds, but then they're not going to assume. So I think starting out the day with just literally inviting the angels into your life, and it can be really simple, is very, very helpful. And I usually try to do that a few times a day. And then just know what uplifts you. So for me, music is a really powerful force of light. Like, I have like music I love playing like almost all the time to help uplift. I think, you know, reading things that are uplifting and helpful and informative, or the podcasts are a really good idea. And then the other thing is just to pay attention to the energy and the people that you have in your life. So if you have some people in your life that are really in a lot of struggle, or they're negative, even if you're not in that place, that's an opening, that's an avenue for that, you know, dark energy to come into your life. So it could be through your personal life, it could be through your work, but just to really pay attention to all the different sort of avenues that darkness might have, and consciously start to work on shifting any openings that are there. So for example, for me, it's interesting, as I've gotten stronger and it's harder for them to attack me directly, they do it more through other people. So I really had to watch that for myself.
So that's amazing. Well, these are things that you do on a daily basis to invite the angels and invite the positivities and just be uplifting. Do you have any sayings or any quotes that you live by and that you have to say to yourself maybe every other day to keep you uplifted?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I don't know that I have one. I think I do read inspirational quotes all the time. I think it's also important to, well, here's one that's popping to mind because it's something, especially those of us who are here to help, you know, so you guys are obviously, you're helping, you're wanting those with suicide prevention, to really trust people's presentation when it's not good. So the Maya Angelou quote, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. So a lot of us here who are here to heal and to help, we're like, oh, I want to help, I want to help. And we're actually kind of sometimes caught in this cycle where we're trying to help even when it's not for our good. So the lowest level of spiritual development is victim status. Like, everything just happens to you, you're a tumbleweed in the wind, you know, it's all out of your control. The second to the highest level of spiritual development is that you're here to help and to heal. And I call this the like martyr level. It's like, I'm helping, oh, I'm dead, I'm in pain or whatever. The highest level is I'm here to give and receive, and they're not mutually exclusive of each other. So for those who might find themselves in that place where let's say you have a lot of people that are in struggle around you, you're trying to help, and it's not good for you. It is possible to help in a way that is not harmful to yourself. So pay attention to that quote. And you know, those of us who are really light souls sometimes trust too much. So that's at least one quote that comes to mind.
I love it. Our time is wrapped up here. Laura, it's been so much fun speaking with you. Again, listening to Hidden Hands with Ariel and Aaron. Today's guest speaker is Laura Michelle Powers, and she can be reached at healingpowers.net. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.